Hello and welcome to Forgotten Temples of Cambodia. Now today is not a temple and this place is certainly not forgotten, and it should never be forgotten. For where I am today is S21. Now that may not be known to you, but S21 is in the heart of the capital of Cambodia, the capital being Phnom Penh. Now it's only a few decades ago you may have heard about the KHMER ROUGE who took over Cambodia, and they slaughtered millions of their own people. It was quite simply horrific. Now, I have been to Auschwitz in Poland, and when I was there, I had to find a quiet corner and cry because it shocked me so. Now, this place behind me, and what I'll be taking you around, used to be a school that was turned into basically another camp for genocide. Over 20,000 people brought here, most of them dead. We'll be looking into the faces of those people because they liked cataloguing them as they dehumanized them. It's going to be a tough one for me because that imagination I have, it's not going to serve me well. So here we go. This is S21. So this is S21. Now, the very quick history of this place is Cambodia went over to communism under the lead of Pol Pot. They emptied the capital city, Phnom Penh, where I am at current, and this place used to be a high school right in the center of the capital of Cambodia, of the capital of Phnom Penh, and it was turned into basically a killing field. Tens of thousands of people were horribly tortured and murdered here. It was pure genocide. So here we go. I've already got a lump in my throat, to tell you the truth. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. So this would have been one of the classrooms back then. And they've left these beds here. And the one thing I'll say is they have been exceedingly honest not to bulldoze this place, because this is the kind of thing that went on. And believe me, it gets a lot worse. And this is the cell next door. And bear in mind, this strip here is purely to cover up the horror. We can see the blood here. And this is right here. Now, 20,000 people were imprisoned here, and there was over 140 of these camps, and these are the rules here. Now, we're just going to dash through them. There's a couple I wish to point out. You must answer according to my questions. Do not turn them away, so you have to answer my questions. Number 6. While getting lashes, basically beaten to death, or electrified to death, you must not cry out or scream. Now, I remind you again, there was hundreds and hundreds of thousands killed all over the country, of course, in these very detention centres, and a lot of them were children. They're telling children not to cry out. Number 9. If you do not follow all the above rules, you shall get many lashes of electric wire. So basically, you're going to get tortured no matter what. It's quite shocking, isn't it? The inhumanity of man to other men. And there is Block A we've just come out of. Now, this would have been the courtyard for the school. And what you can see in your frame here, this square here, if you look at the top, you'll see the rings. Now, what those were used for was basically for hanging people up upside down, torturing them even further, and then dipping their head in shit, quite simply, and repeating the process. If there was a level of inhumanity they could achieve, that's what they would do. And it's these jars here, from those rings up there, they would be dipped down into the shit, and up again. And remember, they're already malnourished and haven't slept for literally probably weeks. And they're dying of thirst. And now this. I mean, how is this possible? And here we are at Building B. And Building B is particularly interesting because what we have is the photos. Those ghostly images of those that were brought here to be processed. Now, a lovely lady has actually just captured me, and there's hardly anyone here, and she's asked me, you know, do you want me to film? And I said, yes. So, lovely lady, please follow me.
Yes.
Here we go. Now then, I don't have a radio mic. Yes, you keep coming in. That's very good. Now, I'm going to start this way. Follow me. Because very much like the Germans, you come a bit closer, my sweet. Come in a bit. That's it. Be bold. That's it. That's very kind. Very much like the Germans, and with all these kind of regimes, if you're going to slaughter someone, let's get this in order, because when they start all that, they don't. It just turns into chaos, because it would, wouldn't it? But what they then do is they dehumanize everyone. They put everyone as a number, not as a name. And these are the actual photos that were taken when people came in. They would have sat there knowing something had gone very, very wrong in their lives. And this would have been, for many, the first and the last photo ever taken. Now, what they actually did was emptied this capital city, Phnom Penh. The KHMER ROUGE came in, and they literally, in a couple of days, kicked everyone out. Imagine your capital city of your country just being completely emptied. And what did they do to them all? They sent them out into the fields. If you come in a bit, you'll be able to get a close shot of this. Can you get that for me? If you come in a bit, my sweet, thank you very much. They were all sent into the fields to basically till the fields. They were sent into hell. And if that, you're doing very well, thank you. And here we have some photos. Now you're probably going to get some shine from the lens, but this is what I really wanted to show you. These are children, and don't think they were immune to being tortured and to being killed on a grand scale, because they were slaughtered just like everyone else, because in this despotic communist regime everyone was equal, everyone had to dress the same, and pretty much everyone starved and died the same. And of course everyone was a spy, and it's all for the good of Cambodia or any country. So when your politicians are telling you there's a common enemy, and that enemy can be clearly identified, and we've all got to get together, at that point start asking the big questions. Because history has taught us one thing: that is a very dangerous road. And do you remember me saying how it all began? Well, this is it. This is 1975, this photo was captured. And these are the KHMER ROUGE. They've come marching in, promising all sorts of things, as governments have a terrible habit of doing. And here are the people, and they are celebrating. Look at this, wonderful Cambodia for the Cambodians, etc., etc. The usual kind of spiel that governments sell you. But it was very, very short order that they then emptied the towns. Right, and here are the lovely ladies that helped me. So say hello.
Hello.
Hello, aren't they delightful? Now, isn't it hard to believe? Just in this shot here, we have the new generation that are good enough to come here and learn this history, and directly behind them there are the uniforms that their parents remember wearing. Their parents are still alive that actually remember this, so we can do nothing but wish these people the very best for the future. Good luck to you.
Yes.
Good luck.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So, what was a place of education in the correct way, in a normal, sensible way, that was then perverted into the re-education of the people, and ultimately the death, because this was little more than a slaughter camp. is now all green again, and the birds are singing, and behind the big wall here, the traffic is buzzing because life moves on. The world corrects itself. It slips out sometimes, but it corrects itself because fundamentally man is good, I believe. Walking along, I've seen this. Now this gentleman you see in the picture is this gentleman over here, and I've just bought his book, and he's been kind enough to agree to go on film. Now if we look over here, what we have is this was him photographed when he was freed from the camp. Now he was here for 4 months and 6 days, I believe.
48.
48
years old.
And he was 48 years old back then.
So now?
Well, he is one of the very, very few survivors. Now, what he's holding here is the room he was actually detained in, which is one of the rooms I've actually taken you to. And here he is one of the... You've got more chance of finding a unicorn than this gentleman. So, au contraire, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to meet you. And this was his job here, but did he? Oh, he was a records guy.
Yes.
That's why he survived. Oh, I see. So he helped people to. He helped the guards make the records, and he was forced to work here. Yeah. Right. I understand. Oh wow. And this is the sort of thing that went on daily around him. And as I said, nearly everyone, the percentage rate is something like 99.8% of people dying. But we've been very blessed to be able to purchase a book, and tonight I'll be reading of this man's experience. So again, thank you, au contraire. Thank you. Well, wasn't that amazing? We've had some lovely ladies we've met that have helped us with filming, and we've met a survivor. I mean, you can be in the most god-awful of places, but still you can meet some remarkable people. Now look at this. Oh my good God. It's obviously razor wire. That bag on my hand there is the gentleman's book I'm going to read tonight. And this is how they kept them. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. It just is... Oh, I mean, oh, God. Oh, Lordy be. Wow. Okay. Right. Now, these are the cells. As things got... The genocide always gets ramped up. And let's go into this one here. And... Right... It is just tiny, obviously. Now, I'm going to give you an idea. If I stretch my arm out, there we go, with the gentleman's book. It is about, from my right shoulder to, that's about 1.25 meters, I believe. And this, let's just bend down. This is the view they would have got. There would have been some form of door there. But this would be the last of days. In your own filth, with the howling and the hollering of people in pain. This is the 7th circle of hell. Good Lord. Right. Oh. And as I came out of this cell, I mean, please, I've been to bloody Auschwitz, and this place shocks me. I saw this mirror. Well, I thought it was a mirror. It isn't, because what's behind me is the same as what's in front of me. They've knocked a rough hole into the wall and built more cells. I can't tell you how tiny these are. I've seen some in Auschwitz where it's like a telephone box. They forced people to stand up for literally weeks on end. I just don't know. It's just so sad, isn't it? And here on this wall we find something interesting. Now often people in prison or confinement will mark time. And if I put my finger here, we can see this. It's a full index finger and quite the depth. And they're quite regular. Maybe these are the days that went by. I don't believe they would be weeks. And then they get smaller. Notice here, they get smaller and smaller as potentially the gentleman that made them got weaker and weaker. And then they come down to little more than scratches here. Do you see here? They're nothing more than scratches. And he just got that weak. He just couldn't mark time anymore. And coming up the stairs in the second block, we have the barbed wire. And yet again, what was once schoolrooms. Now, I've been in many a school in Cambodia and they look identical to this. They're still, they don't have windows, glass windows. They still have the shutters, but what they don't have is this. Oh, good God. I'm particularly privileged due to COVID-19 that I have this to myself, which makes the impact oh so more striking because of the silence. But these would have been the cells. Now we've seen some brick cells, maybe they were the first, but like the Nazis, they got a lot more efficient and they made better cells. Well, for them, these are even smaller. It's a cupboard. It's a small cupboard, saying that. And they've even put the numbers in the back here. You see, that isn't a feature we saw on the other ones. Let's take a moment and close the door behind us and kneel down. So this is where you would be put. My shoulders are not too far from the walls. You could lie down, certainly, but that's it. And you've got enough space to roll over, but that's as far as you're going. And I've got to remind you, it gets so hot and so humid here, it is unbearable. You can't sleep at night when it's summer here unless you have some form of air conditioning or at least a fan. And the stench, the heat, the flies, oh my God. As I say, as you know, I've been here 14 years and the flies are insane. The ants are completely mental. The stench, and you've got no food, oh God. And maybe you can hear a friend or a family member coming from another cell. This is the closest to hell I've ever been. Dear old number 18. Number 17. $16. Number 2. Number 3. Four. 12. 10. That's all it is. It's a machine. It's just numbers. They're just churning numbers. And this wouldn't have been a shower or something civil like that. No. This will be where, well, it would have been a faucet, but this is where the guards could have cleaned off the blood off themselves. As their leaders told them, that's the blood of victory, that's the blood of success, you're all doing very well. It may seem so hard, but it's for the greater cause. Jesus. I will never, ever forget this day. There's another number 18. Just numbers. That's all it is, isn't it? And from the many catalogues of people, we see the horrific portraits of what went on here. And that is not enough to bring it home to you. We have the implements of torture, from knotted rope, which is unbelievably painful, I understand, to the the handcuffs, the usual big sticks for hitting people with. We have what looks like miners' tools, for crying out loud. We've got shackles, hammers to decimate and destroy such things as kneecaps. And this is what they were up to. I mean, it was a killing frenzy. Wild dogs had been set loose. And why just have your clubs and your hammers? They started to invent even crueler, nastier ways. And we're getting a bit of shine from the sunlight on the glass here, but I'm sure you can get the idea. And when the Americans said waterboarding is acceptable, I say it is not. Because right here, that's exactly what they were doing. I mean, this can here, and I won't touch it out of reverence, or it bloody scares me, is this jerry-rigged can here was the actual can itself, where they placed people in these cuffs and going over to here, and you can see the leg shackles down there. Can you see those? And they would have been placed in here and waterboarded like this. New and inventive ways for them to get their confessions, which were all false. I mean, if you're having this done to you whilst you're emaciated and being beaten, what are you not going to confess to? And do you know what? That actual bucket, implement, whatever you want to call it, that's in that picture is right here at my feet. Now that is truly horrifying, to be that close to something that's this associated so closely with such evil. Wow. And don't think it was just this school, because we are, this channel is Forgotten Temples of Cambodia. And yes, guess what? They were doing it as temples as well. This, you see, temples here were being used for torture, maiming, and this killing frenzy this country went on. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And everywhere we go in this museum, we are reminded, and rightfully so, of the images of those that are gone. And I'm going to say to you again, you might wish to turn away right now, because what I'm going to show you is the actual skulls of some of those that have passed. And this is very hard for me. It honestly is. But I think it's the right thing to do. So there you go, S21. And I can honestly say it has upset me greatly, because I have a great compassion for this country. After all, it is my home now, and it is where I live, and I will probably die here. And I absolutely adore it. It's frustrating sometimes, but what isn't? But to see these horrors here, and to strangely enough meet an actual survivor, well, that's astonishing. And the lovely ladies, and one of them again I've just bumped into, and again she's been kind enough to hold the camera for me. So in such a place as this, with such awful, awful history, we've met kindness and we've met wonderful people. And I wish to finish this video standing next to this lady. This one photo, which is of thousands of photos, because she's a very pretty lady, yes, but what she has in her eye is a touch of the old defiance, I think. She has that go and yourself look in her eye. And she probably didn't make it out of here. But to her, I dedicate this video for that look of defiance, because it's only that way that these bad people, who aren't just in the past, but they're also in our future, will and shall always be stopped. And it's due to ladies like this. To her, thank you. And I'm just walking away from this lady when I noticed something. I've been mentioning numbers, and everyone's just a number in these kind of systems. But guess what her number was? And it's all she wanted as well. She wanted to be free.